It's July 28, 2022. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I want to talk about where you can launch your boat if you come to Mount Desert Island. And specifically today, I'm going to show you 6 boat ramps on the western side of Mount Desert Island. First, we'll see 2 ramps where you can launch your boat into the freshwater lakes on the island, and then we'll see 4 ramps where you can launch your boat into saltwater along the western side of the island. And I'll do another video sometime in the future showing you ramps on other parts of the island. Okay, let's get going and look at some boat ramps. Okay, to orient you as to where the boat ramps I'm going to be talking about are, I'm going to put up a map right here, and you can see where the boat ramps are. The 2 ramps to go into freshwater on Echo Lake and Long Pond, and the 4 ramps on the west side of Mount Desert Island where you can launch into saltwater at Southwest Harbor, Bass Harbor, Seal Cove, and Bartlett's Landing. There are 2 freshwater ponds on the west side of Mount Desert Island that you can put your boat in. They are Echo Lake and Long Pond. Echo Lake is the smaller of the 2, and I'm headed to the boat launch on Echo Lake right now. Okay, as we drive north out of Southwest Harbor, we're going to pass the Echo Lake beach access in Acadia National Park. It's not very far past there that we are going to come to the turn, which if you're headed north out of Southwest Harbor is going to say Ike's Point, and it will be a left. And if you're headed south from Soamesville, it's about 2/3 of the way south from Soamesville to Southwest Harbor, and it will be a right turn if you're headed south. It's not very far, and we'll be up there in just a moment. And here's the sign, Ike's Point, so we're going to want to get ready to turn. Now this is in Acadia National Park, so if you turn to go in here, you do have to have paid your park access fee. So here we go, we're going into Acadia National Park. This is a very narrow road. I'll pull over and let this guy out. There is a parking lot down here, and I hope it isn't full. And this isn't very far. It's maybe a 1/4 mile down to the lake. And here's the parking lot on the left, and I'll see if I can find a spot to park. You know, somebody's coming out, so maybe I can. Oh yeah, no problem. Now, Ike's Point is a good place to launch your canoe or kayak, or maybe a small sailboat that you can carry down to the water, because there isn't really much of a launch ramp down here where you could launch a bigger boat. And I believe there is a 10 horsepower limit to engine power on this pond. This is a nice pond to canoe or kayak on. The water is warm enough to swim in July and August. And it is, in general, a good place to launch a small human-powered boat. Well, here's the boat launch right here. It's not very big, and as I said, it's basically for something you can carry down. And this pond is a linear pond. It's about 1 mile long and maybe 3/8 of a mile wide at the widest point. And you can see there are quite a few people out in the water here. And it is a good place to go for a little canoe or kayak on a nice day. The only negative to it is that if the wind is blowing, it tends to blow the length of the pond, and it can get quite choppy. And if you had canoed or kayaked down to the downwind end of the lake, it could be quite a workout to get back up here. This boat launch is about 2/3 of the way south from the north end of the lake. Okay, I'm at the Long Pond boat launch now. To get here, you turn off Route 102 at the south end of Soamesville, right by the fire station, just as you're about to go out of town heading south. And as you can see, parking is a bit of an issue here. There is parking, but not a lot. And I don't know if there's any place that you can leave your boat trailer. Long Pond is the largest pond on Mount Desert Island, and it's the only one where you can put a boat in with bigger than a 10 horsepower engine. And you can, you know, water ski and all that here. The pond is actually quite large. The southern and western shore of most of the pond is in Acadia National Park, and the northern and eastern shore is private property. And I'm just about up to the ramp itself. Okay, I've now crossed the road and I'm right here at the ramp. And here it is. You can launch a trailer boat here. It's a short ramp. This goes into a freshwater lake. Or you can put your kayak in, as you can see lots of people are doing. And the water here is plenty warm for swimming. And this is a pretty good sized lake. You can see over a mile up there, and that is not the southern end. We're looking south right now. And it's a very, very nice lake. Now this ramp is run by the town of Mount Desert. I'm going to walk over and see if there is a fee to use it. Well, there's nothing about a fee, so I believe it's a free ramp. So you can bring your kayak here, and you can see there are lots of kayakers out there today. And this is a big enough lake that you could spend several hours kayaking around it and not see all of it. As I said, this is the biggest freshwater lake on Mount Desert Island. All right, right now I am over at the Southwest Harbor boat ramp. This is a public boat ramp that belongs to the town of Southwest Harbor, and it's relatively inexpensive. If you're a resident, it costs $5, and if you're a non-resident, it's $10, and that is a round trip fee. And this is into Southwest Harbor, and it's a perfect spot if you want to take your boat up Soame Sound or go out into the great harbor of Mount Desert Island. A very good ramp. It's on the south side of Southwest Harbor. To get here, you drive through town, turn onto Route 102A, and drive down to the third left turn, head down to the water, turn left again, and you'll be here. This is a very good ramp. You can launch pretty much any boat that you can put on a trailer here. And in fact, we launch my 36-foot Allied Princess sailboat here off of a Brownell hydraulic trailer. And you can tie up out at one of the two town floats out there after you launch for a couple of hours while you rig the boat up if you need to. And over here, there is space to park your trailer. I think you're restricted to day parking, although you can get permission from the harbor master to park here overnight. I don't know if there's a fee, and that is the harbor master's office right there. So this is an excellent ramp to launch your boat at. It's easy to get to, and it has free parking. Also, if you want to keep your boat in the water here for several days after you launch and you have a dinghy, the town has 5 rental moorings out there. They're clearly marked. Can't tell which ones they are from here. And I believe they go for $30 a night. So you can tie up to a town rental mooring and either dinghy ashore here and leave your dinghy at the dinghy dock, or just stay aboard your boat if it's big enough and has accommodations. And 30 bucks a night is really cheap to stay on Mount Desert Island. And finally, if all you want to do is launch your kayak, you can walk over this little beach right here, just a few feet from the boat ramp, and put your kayak in here. And I believe there's no charge to do that, and park here in the parking lot. Okay, now I'm up on the northwest side of Mount Desert Island. This is Bartlett's Landing, and it is in the town of Mount Desert, and there is a small boat ramp here where you can put a boat in, and this is salt water. This ramp gives you access to Blue Hill Bay. So let's take a look at the ramp and see what it looks like. Okay. So here's the ramp. It's relatively narrow. Yeah, it looks like you can probably use it down to a fairly low tide. There is no dock beside it, so once you're in, you're in. You're gonna have to have somebody in the boat to operate the boat and take it over to the dock a little farther over on the point. So this is of the saltwater access ramps on the island, this is probably not the best one, but it does give you excellent access to the northern part of Blue Hill Bay, and that's Bartlett's Island over there. So this access is to what's called Bartlett Narrows. There is some parking here, day use only, and it would be a bit of an issue if you had a trailer you wanted to leave here. There isn't really any room to park a trailer, but we'll walk over and take a look at the dock here. It's a beautiful access point to Blue Hill Bay. To get out into the bay proper, you do need to go around Bartlett's Island over there. And here is the dock where you could bring your boat over and tie it up to get it rigged up. And as you can see, this is a fairly popular spot for people in bigger kayaks heading out here. The waters here are relatively protected. They're not going to get super rough in here, although the wind does tend to blow the length of Bartlett Narrows here, and if you go very far downwind, you might have a fairly robust paddle to get back here. And Bartlett's Island over there is all privately owned, so you cannot go ashore there. On the other side of Bartlett's Island, though, there are a bunch of unoccupied islands that you can kayak to out in Blue Hill Bay, or run over there in your power boat. Okay, let's move on to the next ramp. If you come over here to Bartlett's Narrows, you do have to watch out for walkers on the road. There's a bunch of turkeys on both sides of the road, and I don't want them to run out in front of me. And here's another one. And there's another one that it doesn't look like it's going to head out into the road yet. So that's a hazard over here. Wild turkeys. The next boat launch is the Seal Cove boat launch in the town of Tremont. As you head north up Route 102 from Bass Harbor, you'll pass through a couple of small villages, including Seal Cove. And just past the main part of Seal Cove, you'll come to Cape Road. And if you turn down there, you'll end up where I am now, and about 3/4 of a mile down, we will get to the Seal Cove boat ramp in the town of Tremont. And this is quite a good ramp, as you'll see, and there is parking where you can leave a trailer. So we'll be there in just a moment. Yeah, here we are. And it's pretty parked up today. In addition to the boat ramp, there is a picnic area here. It's not very big. There are only half a dozen picnic tables. But as you can see, people have got their trailers parked there. There's parking on the other side of the road here. And I'm going to have to see what I can find in terms of a parking spot. Now, as you can see, there's plenty of parking here, and you can simply pull off on this side of the road and with your trailer and park. No charge to park here. And we'll go up and have a look at the ramp. Now, there is a picnic area here where you can have lunch and look out over Blue Hill Bay. And as I said, this ramp is operated by the town of Tremont, which is the town that includes Bass Harbor and Bernard, and occupies most of the west side of Mount Desert Island. And here is the ramp. As you can see, there's a nice dock alongside the ramp, where as you launch your boat, you can tie it off while you put your trailer away someplace. And you can launch pretty much any boat that you can trailer here. Tide is getting low. It's about half tide now, and there's still a bit of ramp left. So this is a fairly wide ramp with a float all the way down it. It's a good spot to put in if you want to go out into Blue Hill Bay, which is right there. So Blue Hill Bay is a large bay between Mount Desert Island and the peninsula that goes out to Stonington and Deer Isle to the west. And so this is an excellent spot to put in for a larger boat that you want to head out. These are lobster boats mostly in here, although there are a few pleasure boats on the moorings here. There are no rental moorings here, although you could anchor outside the moorings if you wanted. But there are better spots to anchor than here. As you can see, this is wide open to the west and can get a little lumpy. But this is one of the two good ramps for access to Blue Hill Bay. Their third ramp, which we just saw up at Bartlett Narrows, is a much smaller ramp and doesn't have a float and has very limited parking. Here's one of the picnic areas, and there are several picnic tables right along Seal Cove here on the west side of Mount Desert Island. So let's head down to the last ramp that we want to look at for access to saltwater, and that is the ramp that goes into Bass Harbor on the Bernard side. The last boat ramp that I'm going to look at is on Bass Harbor. It's on the Bernard or western side of Bass Harbor, and just turn in where the sign says Bernard. I'm coming in from the north right now, but it's the same coming in from the south. And just go out this road, a little over half a mile, and we will get to the ramp. And This is the road that goes past the public library and out to Thurston's Lobster Pound. So that makes it pretty easy to find. And again, this is in the village of Bernard in the town of Tremont, and it's on the west side of Bass Harbor. And I'm keeping the camera going because just before we turn down to go to the ramp, there is a parking lot that the town operates where you can park your car if you just wanted to launch a kayak, or put your trailer if you launched a bigger boat. We're just passing the Bass Harbor Library right here, and we'll get to the parking lot in just a few seconds. It's just a little bit up here. So you can see from the main road, which is Route 102, it's not that far down here. And here is the town parking lot where you can park and leave your trailer if you wish. And it's a pretty good sized lot. There's room for plenty of cars, and there's even somebody with a boat trailer. And as you'll see, this is not very far from the ramp. So we'll come out of here and make a right and head down to the ramp, which is right up here. We're going to come up to the stop sign and we're going to turn left. And if you look carefully, you'll see that blue sign that says public access boat ramp. And this, the only negative to this ramp is it's a bit steep getting down to it or coming back up from it. So it can be a bit of a challenge if you were towing a large boat on a trailer. It might strain your vehicle a little bit. I'm going to pull over and park, and we'll take a look at the ramp. Now, here's the boat ramp. What makes this ramp nice is that there's a floating dock on each side. It goes right out into Bass Harbor, which is very well protected, and so that makes this ramp usable even when it's pretty windy, because it's extremely well protected and sheltered. We're at about half tide right now, and there's still plenty of water to launch a boat. Oh, let's see, with say about 2.5 feet draft. See how far down the ramp goes. Water, yeah, it goes out quite a ways. So you can probably launch a boat with 3 or maybe even 4 feet draft, even now at half tide. And as you can see, it's extremely sheltered here, and it'd be very easy to have someone walk down beside your boat as you're launching it and keep a line and take it off the trailer. And similarly, easy to get the boat back onto the trailer. And from here, it's a quick run out into southern Blue Hill Bay, and if you go left, you can go past the Bass Harbor Lighthouse out into the Gulf of Maine. So this is one of the good access points if you want to take your boat out to the southern part of Blue Hill Bay. So this is town of Tremont's boat ramp in Bass Harbor. But this is a good ramp. I've not launched here, but as I said, it's a good ramp to put in at, and lots of people do launch here. Well, I just had a brief chat with the harbor master here, and there is no charge to use this ramp, and the parking is free. And if the parking lot that I showed you earlier is full, harbor master says you can take your boat up to the Tremont School and park in the parking lot there. I asked him if you have to talk to anybody about it, and he said him. So it's no big deal, and it's no charge to park there. So that covers the boat ramps here on the west side of Mount Desert Island for saltwater and freshwater.